I will start to explain why DPU is booming up, and also why DPU require more security solutions. As everybody knows that NVIDIA is a big company on GPU, and why GPU becomes important is because a lot of new applications, particularly AI applications, require a lot of pattern recognition or graphic recognitions. So the GPU become the very good accelerator to compute the graphic data. So in general, CPU can take care of because CPU is very general for the computation, and also can be used for the computation, also the data storage, also other network functions. It's very general functionality. But however, as the application increases, such as the AI application, and then now there are a lot of IoT applications. So since the year before last year, NVIDIA started to promote their DPU. And also from the last year, we start to promote our PUF security solution in North America market. We also get inquiry from quite a few of DPU companies. So I would like to take this chance to give everybody a very short brief about what DPU can do to assist the CPU. We have the simple diagram to compare the conventional data center and also the DPU powered data center. The DPU process unit is a process which can offload the CPU burden by assuming the responsibility of managing the data processing in network server and the data center, such as storage and data classification, and also the security. And this will extend data processing capability or be improved the system performance in a similar way as what the graphic processing unit GPU does to improve the graphic processing performance. So as IoT is booming, a lot of data will be collected from the edge device. So the data-centric driven processor are becoming very important to manage big data. So therefore, in addition to CPU and the GPU, DPU is required for improving network server and the data center performance. For the new architecture, CPU will be taking care of the application management, while DPU will assist CPU for the network management, storage management, and also security management, because those are very related to the data processing. The conventional CPU, after the DPU offload the CPU, so CPU can perform the application management very well. And in the past, the CPU need to also take care of the security, but because the security function is also can occupy a lot of CPU computation time. But if the DPU can take care of the security, then the CPU can take care of the application management very efficiently. So the inclusion of a DPU, it can offload the networking processing, and also particularly for the networking processing, because in the 5G, actually they are so-called virtual defined network, and which need to slice the network server for the three different applications. One is for the many connectivity, and one is for the high bandwidth, and another is for the very ultra low latency applications. So if the network server has a DPU can take care of that. Also, because of the network now is so-called virtual network, So the security will become very important because for the storage and also network processing, and they are all share the same memory and also share same path. So that's why the security become very important to take care of each branch of the service. By doing this, so CPU can focus on its processing for the edge application instead, and the overall performance of the server, including the network server and the data center, can be have a lot of improvements. In such case, that the DPU need to have a more security function into the DPU. So the embedded security function not only enhance the overall level of defense, but also can prevent CPU operation from being interfered with by the hacker, and preventing massive security breakdown. Such as, for example, now there are a lot of botnet attack, and also the attack from we call it phishing mail or other different kind of attack which will influence the CPU's operation. But if DPU take care of that, then the CPU can still continue to do the application processing without being interfered by the attacks. So in time when both the amount of sensitivity of data surges, when the IoT application become booming, the DPU need to be equipped with more solid security functions, so that the data will be well protected during the transmission or the processing. And that is why security solutions are essential to DPU. Most of our potential customers in North America, when they inquire us about our PUF-based hardware security solution, I think that are very interested, and they think that this could be embedded into their DPU to provide very strong security functions. And the reason why the PUF-based hardware security solution can enhance DPU security is because in order to attend the fast and very reliable security operations, each system needs its own unique identifier at the hardware level. And this unique identifier is basically similar to the fingerprint to the human being. And that is the fingerprint of the chips. So the security can use that, we call it the one-of-a-kind PUF values to generate, because this unique identifier is created by PUF, and the DPU can use this unique identifier to generate keys and also to encrypt data and to ensure integrity and also authenticate between sensors and the receivers. So we found that embedded the PUF into, and also PUF-based solution into DPU chips can enable very high security and very high performance for the chip solution and also the entire systems. So I think that is what I want to share about why DPU become the new architecture and also new elements in the new systems, such as the virtual network processor and also the data centers. Okay, thank you.